But what I want to talk about is the NBA. So as we're kind of getting to the main push, most people after the All-Star game starts, that's when the NBA season really begins. Like after All-Star break, or really after Christmas is when the season begins. After All-Star break is where the pushes begin. Now you got people not gonna have as many sitting out for rest kind of things. People are trying to get playoff seeding. You got teams like the Warriors and the Timberwolves. Timberwolves had kind of been struggling all year, and they have hit their stride. The Warriors, same. Jimmy Butler, and all of a sudden they are just one of the best teams in basketball. So it's that time of year, and one of the things that has been a big point of contention over the last couple of years with the NBA is just like the product, what they're putting on the court. And I wanted to get to this, but I wanted to use SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who I believe is going to win MVP and I believe deserves MVP, put up a 48-point game last night against Detroit. And it's really come down to kind of Jokic or Shai. I think that by rules and precedent, Shai's team is way too good. Shai's going to win the scoring title. They're just so much better than everybody else. I think that he deserves MVP. I think that I understand like Jokic is doing just some crazy stuff, but the numbers alone have never just been how we determine MVP. So I do think it needs to go to Shai, but every time Jokic has a crazy game, 30, 20, and 20, Shai scores 50, everybody kind of goes back and forth. Okay, which one is this? Okay, let's revisit it now because of this. It was really kind of like we all kind of knew Shai was going to win MVP, and then Jokic had 30, 20, 20, and now they were like, oh, well, maybe we should reconsider. The odds changed tremendously all of a sudden after the 30, 20, 20 game. But in reality, it's not. The stats aren't the only thing, right? You got to have the team record, the team success. That just matters. But that's not what I want to talk about. So Shai had a 48-point game last night, and the biggest thing, like the reason why people are iffy with Trae Young and whatever, and they're getting that way with Shai at times, is foul baiting. So I want to play this clip. So Detroit lost to Oklahoma City, but I want to play this clip from JB Bickerstaff, the Detroit Pistons head coach, after the game. It's about a minute and a half clip, so I'm gonna let the whole thing play. I think that it's very, very important to kind of set the context of where it's coming from, and then after we do that, then I'll actually get to kind of the point I want to make with this. So here we go.
I'm disgusted by the way that game was officiated. The level of disrespect was above and beyond. They have a guy fall down and trip on his own teammate's foot. They review us for a hostile act. They throw an elbow to our chest, neck area. I asked for him, at least take a look at it, right? Just show us the respect to take a look at it, okay? No one would take a look at it, okay? The disrespect has gone far enough, and I'm not going to allow our guys to be treated the way that they were treated tonight, okay? I tried to have a conversation with official. The official was arguing with Mark. I say his name one time, and he screams at me and tells me that's enough, right? We understand that we play a style of ball that's physical, it's on the edge, right? I coach my ass off with a passionate way. I'm into the games. Our players are into the games. We understand that, right? But we deserve a level of respect because we're competing our tails off and bringing something positive to this league, right? We're growing young players. Our young players are competing their tail off. The least that they could do is get the same respect that everybody else in this league gets and get refereed the same way that everybody else in this league gets reffed. And enough is enough of it. And what you saw tonight was disgusting. It was a disgusting display of disrespect towards our guys and what we're trying to do.
So that part at the very end was him just kind of crinkling up the paper, he's over it kind of stuff. So that was very specific to Detroit and probably something they've been dealing with for the last, probably all season, right? The way they play basketball probably seems like they're not officiated the exact same way as everybody else is. I would understand that. Like if that's the case, especially if you play a certain brand of basketball, that's just kind of what's going to happen. So that part I understand. And he's probably frustrated. It was a frustrating game. Cade got thrown out. Like it was a mess. But I think that the overall arcing thing, as fans, we want to see great games. We hate seeing the games decided by the referees, and there is a level of, if the referee has been on the camera and been the primary, like the center focus of a camera for, more than 2% of the time, that means they're on camera too much. And that means that they're doing too much. That means that they're making too many calls or having to review too much stuff. In basketball, like, all right, when they go to the monitor and they got to announce the thing at the monitor, they're always looking at the refs, and the refs are discussing this, and the refs are discussing that. Like, that's too much. Make the call and let's move. In the NFL, all the reviews and all the hey, no, make the call and let's move. Technical fouls, throwing players out, like, stop determining the game. Let the game, part of the reason why people were kind of sick of the Kansas City Chiefs wasn't necessarily because they were winning or because they hate Patrick Mahomes, which all of a sudden people have tried to convince themselves now they hate Patrick Mahomes. They didn't hate him when Tom Brady was around. Now that Tom Brady is gone, they need somebody else to hate. Now they hate Mahomes. But it was really the matter of they were sick of It always felt like the referees were determining a lot of these Chiefs wins. Let the Chiefs be so great and let them go win the game. Stop calling pass interference on ticky-tack stuff. Stop calling this, that, and the third. Now, again, penalties are penalties. So, like, but the point is, like, referee, you're on camera too much. We are not here to see you, right? And this even goes to a broader discussion because NBA players have kind of made it very difficult on referees. Foul baiting is not new. I think that it has become more common than ever. You want to start with Chris Paul. Remember the rule that was made, defenders can't have their hand out because Chris Paul, because they're impeding shooters, and Chris Paul started doing the sweep through to draw the fouls. That's foul baiting. It then transformed into James Harden, the grabbing the arm when I'm driving by you. I grab your arm so you can't move it, and then I go up. And now I'm kind of going up through your arm, but I was grabbing it the whole time. Flopping and flailing has always been foul baiting, whether you're on defense or on offense. Hey, you just hit me in my throat. They're probably not going to see it unless I flail a little bit. 20 years ago, people called it gamesmanship. Now they call it flopping. Trae Young, flopping, flailing. It feels like his number one goal on offense is to draw a foul. And now Shea, very similar. Now, the thing about Shea with his game being so smooth, I think that there are a lot of times where he scores and there was a lot of contact and he doesn't get a foul that I think that people don't see. He makes a lot of tough buckets. So there are certain times where he probably could have caught a foul on that and they didn't. And then there are times where it's like, hey, man, that was like contact is going to happen. Football is a collision sport. Basketball is a contact sport. You cannot play the game of basketball cannot be played without contact. Therefore, every bit of contact that makes somebody fall over doesn't mean it's a foul. My stepbrother, when we were younger, my older stepbrother, we used to play, like we'd be playing in the gym and like he would like he'd knock somebody over or something. They'd be like, oh man, it's a foul, like pick up. And he'd be like, nah, it's not a foul. You can't blame me because he needs to get in the weight room. And that's kind of what it is. If two people are, I hate loose ball fouls where two people are fighting for the ball. There are two people, grown men, fighting to get to a singular point. They make contact with each other and you call a foul on one of them. That you cannot, like that's just because I'm the one that fell over. Well, he has me by 30 pounds. That doesn't mean that now he has to pick up a foul because he has me by 30 pounds. He is entitled to the exact same space that I'm entitled to. If we're both attacking the ball, which is one singular point, we are bound to collide. That does not mean it's a foul. And that goes to what makes the NBA so difficult to watch. Beyond the fact that, oh, I might watch a game and Lord knows who's going to play and who's not going to play. Oh, I might watch a game and every single team plays the same way because every single team is focused on getting corner threes with spacing and all that stuff. We don't have it back where we had Zach Randolph and OJ Mayo, Rudy Gay, and Mark Gasol with the Grizzlies. They play a specific way. While over there with Kobe, Pau Gasol, Andrew Bynum, they play a specific way. And then the Clippers, Showtime Clippers play Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, JJ Redick and them. They play a specific way. We don't have that anymore. It was the Warriors played a certain way, Houston adopted it and played the same way, and they all won 55, 60 games, and now everybody wants to play that way. So you're watching, it doesn't matter what teams you're watching, the same shots get taken, it's the same type of basketball, and it's boring. What do they say in boxing? Styles make fights. Well, if two boxers are both super, super fast, but they don't have any knockout power, okay, well, you're watching the same boxer box twice, it feels like you're watching somebody spar. Styles make fights. Oh, he's not as fast. He doesn't have the endurance. But if he hits you once, you might get knocked out. Why are people so much like, oh, Floyd, when he fights somebody who can knock people out? It's because nobody ever can hit Floyd. But if you can hit him, though, if this guy can hit him, if he catches him, he's going to knock him out. Styles make fights. Basketball is the same way. If every team plays the same way, then what are we watching for? Well, we're watching for a superstar to do something crazy. John Morant to do some 360 layup and dunk on somebody. Luka to hit a step back three. LeBron to be LeBron. But it's analytics has made the game difficult to watch from a consumer standpoint. And then the referee problem, the foul baiting, has made it difficult to watch as well from a consumer standpoint, especially for the people who love basketball for the game of basketball. This is where you get into hoop culture. I don't, when we were in college, we didn't go to the gym to draw fouls, man. We went out there to hoop. And it doesn't feel like these players are hooping. And then when they are, it feels like the referees take that away from them. And because the referees are that way, okay, well then I'm gonna take advantage of the referees, which takes away from the fact that we're out here playing basketball. That's why those crazy runs at the UCLA runs and like all that stuff where you'll see in the summer all those NBA players get together, those are some of the best pickups because there ain't no referees out here. We're just out here hooping. And that's it. And I think that us as fans want to get back to just seeing hoopers hoop. That's it, man. That's it. We don't want the referees to take advantage of it. And we don't want the referees to make the game about them. And we don't want players to take advantage of the referees. And then when the referees make a mistake, we say we want the human element. Oh, mistakes happen. The human element of refereeing. We want that. That's what we say. However, we then aren't allowed to acknowledge the human element and when it was wrong. And if you say it in the moment, you get fined. JB Bickerstaff is going to get a hefty fine for that. But it's not like he said anything disrespectful. He gave his honest opinion. I think that the game today was refereed terribly. I was disgusted with it. Here is why. If we can't referee, the referee himself is never going to have to hold himself accountable on a public stage. When a coach makes a mistake, he is required to hold himself accountable. When his team makes a mistake, he's required to hold his team accountable. When Jalen Withers gets a lane violation on a game-tying free throw, someone's going to ask him that question. He's going to have to answer and stand up to it. Referees don't have to do that. And that's part of the problem as well. What did he say to you that made you throw that tech? Or were you just fed up tonight? Because you're human beings. So be it. But if Tom Brady throws a pick six on a game-winning drive, he's got to answer. And they don't have to. And then the league will come out and say in some press thing, oh, this mistake was made here, or it should have been this. And that doesn't do anything for anybody but kind of just feel like a slap in the face because it's like, hey, well, do I get my tech back that I got for that missed call? Or, hey, do I, that's – so now players are frustrated. And all of that bleeds into this, disdain for the league that has grown and developed over the last 8-10 years. So it's a very nuanced, and there's nuanced problem, and there's so many different levels to it. But something has to change. The NBA has to get to the root of it, and you probably can't solve all the problems at once. You can't review every call, so you can't solve all the problems at once. But you got to find something, because what makes the NBA strong is the culture of basketball. It's not just the game, right? This is a TV product, but you got to stop trying to kind of pander to the short attention spans of people nowadays and get back to the culture, because the culture is what holds people, not the analytics.